Today, I'm going to answer some of the top questions about the Masterbuilt MPS 230S Propane Smoker. This is Robert with Pioneer Smokehouses, and I have used this smoker multiple times and have a pretty good idea of how it functions and what it does well and what it doesn't do so well. So let's start off with the list of questions that I have here. Some of these we might get to and some of them we might not get to. But let's start off with the first one. And the first one is this a good smoker for beginners? Well, that's kind of a difficult question because a beginner might not be a beginner at everything. If you're a really good cook and you've done a lot of propane barbecue stuff, then this is probably going to work just fine because you'll understand the nuances of adjusting the temperature. My personal thought, though, is if I was recommending a smoker for a beginner, I would probably go with one of the Masterbuilt digital smokers because they're so easy to use. With the digital electric controls, you basically set it and it cooks at the temperature you want or within a reasonable variation. Like I found within 20 degrees on my current MES 140B. Now that is my favorite recommended smoker for beginners, but also a 30-inch, if you have a little bit less space, is a really good option. Our next question today is how well does it handle different meats? And in my experience, it's done really well with pretty much every meat that I've thrown at it. I actually like the performance on, say, a pork butt or something like that really well. It did do some really good things with something like a keto hamburger pizza. I've done hamburger jerky in it and pork jerky, which is basically just a low and slow smoke, a little bit higher than what I would smoke fish at, but it did come out really good and it dried the food as I wanted. One thing that I don't want to neglect to mention is that this smoker has a high enough temperature range that poultry is still a good option, where some of your other smokers, like your electric smokers that are limited to 275 degrees, just really don't turn out poultry very well. But with the higher temperature range, you will get a very good poultry. And you can check out this video that I did of some brine chicken breast that worked out really well. My next question is, does this smoker produce enough smoke? Well, that's kind of a loaded question because in my opinion, there's a minor design flaw in this smoker. But no worries, there's a couple of really easy ways to fix it. Now they put this fire disc in here and I'll show you a picture of that, and it has slots. The fire literally comes through those slots and catches whatever you put in there on fire. Now, if you pile the chips up near the edge away from those slots in the 3 areas that are available in there, you can get it to smoke at a low temperature. However, if you turn that temperature up, they still catch right on fire. So my solution is to add this cast iron pan. And when you do that, you will get the ability to smoke well. Now again, in the higher ranges, this will combust because anything above 451 degrees will instantly light on fire. So you don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to keep it to where that's in the 300, 325 range. But 325 down here does not mean 325 up here. 325 up here is going to be a lot hotter temperature. My next question is kind of a difficult question to answer. What temperature do you want to smoke pork and beef at? Now that's more of a general question that is not necessarily specific to this one smoker. When I'm doing beef, I'm typically going to maybe 225 to 250 on most beef items, as long as it's not a steak. If it's a steak, I'm going as high as I can, hitting it with as much smoke as I can, and then transferring it to a grill or a cast iron pan in the house. When I'm doing pork, I like to start out with the first few hours at 225, and then as it gets more done, I like to ramp the temperature up to 275 and get a little bit more of that crispy bark on the outside. Pork is very forgiving because it's really fatty, especially like a pork shoulder is what I'm really talking about. And the pork shoulder will take a lot of temperature with no problem. So 275 for that, and even a little more if you wanted. Now, if you want to cook at a higher temperature for either one of those items, if you inject a lot of broth inside, they will take a lot more temperature and cook a lot better at those high temperatures without drying out. But if you don't inject, be expecting some dry meat in the center. How often should you refill the smoke tray in the MPS 230? Well, that's kind of another question. It's how much wood chips do you get in it and what modifications do you make? So with this particular modification that I'm using, which is the large cast iron pan, you can really put in a lot of wood chips. And as long as you keep the temperature down, that amount of wood chips will last a long time. So let's take, for example, 1 cup of wood chips will last you about 40 minutes. But if you can get 4 or 5 cups in there, you're going to get a lot longer smoke, especially if you can keep the temperature down. Get the temperature up really high, and that wood chips are going to smoke a lot and burn fast. But you'll end up with a lot of smoke too. So the question is do you want to do it that way? I like to add a small amount of wood chips, and then with a metal spoon, I like to insert more wood chips as I think it needs to get more smoke generation. Take that metal spoon, clear out the middle, then load it full of 1 scoop of wood chips and pour it right in the middle, and they'll start smoking almost instantly, especially if you never remove the metal pan. How do I prevent temperature fluctuations in this smoker? I gotta tell you that it is a bit of a challenge. This smoker will have temperature fluctuations, especially when the smoke is being generated from the wood chips. When there's wood chips in there smoking, the temperature tends to drop. I'm not exactly sure what the reason for that is. I'm sure somebody who's a scientist probably knows the answer. But as soon as the wood chips are done smoking, the temperature will go up. So what I do is I watch that temperature and get it to where I want it preheated for my actual cooking temperature, add the wood chips, add the food, and then what will happen is the temperature will drop down, and then as soon as the wood chips are consumed, the temperature will go back up, which is perfect. You just have to allow for that extra time at that lower temperature. So remember, put the wood chips in, temperature drops, you'll have to add that on. So if you're thinking 275 at 6 hours and you throw in wood chips and it drops down to 225, add a little bit extra time for that. Again, another way to maintain that temperature fluctuation is literally sit here and keep adjusting that temperature knob until you get it exactly where you want it. Currently, I'm smoking macaroni and cheese in there, and I brought it up right into the 315 range, and I was going for 325, but I think that instead of adjusting it and going over, I think I'm gonna allow for the extra time and just leave it there for a while. How do you get crispy skin on poultry in the Masterbuilt MPS 230? Well, that's always a bit of a challenge. The best way that I get crispy skin is to turn it up and sear it. At the end of my cooking, I like to use what's called a searzall. Now, on an electric smoker, you have no chance of getting a crispy skin. But on this one, you have a lot higher range. So as soon as the wood chips are done, you can ramp that temperature up into the 400-degree range if you so choose. Now, I don't do that. What I do is I'll show you a little video clip here, is that I use a searzall. And I did that in one of my recent videos where I brined and smoked some chicken breasts. Now, the chicken breasts were kind of large and they took a little bit longer than I had planned on for them to cook. But I got out the searzall and I torched up that skin, and then I wrapped them and let them rest. Now, if I would have went and torched the skin a second time after they were done resting, the skin would have been perfectly crispy all the way through, but that rest time actually moistened the skin back up. So watch out for that one. A searzall, also another good option. Throw it on your propane grill when you're done smoking on the highest setting for a minute on each side, and you'll get some wonderful skin. Broiler in the oven and air fryer, also good options. A frequent question that I've seen is how to improve airflow and smoke consistency. Well, for me, I haven't had a lot of problem with airflow. The nice thing about most propane smokers is they have a really clear air intake vent directly underneath the burner, and this one is located in a box assembly under the bottom. And then on the back, there is a nice wide 4-slot exit. And I always leave that thing fully open unless I'm smoking in the dead of winter. If it's really, really cold outside, I will close it down just a little bit if I'm having a hard time getting up to temperature. But if I'm able to get up to temperature, I leave that thing open all the way. And one of the reasons is that I don't want stale smoke. Electric smokers and propane smokers are notorious at generating stale smoke. So if you keep those vents open and let that smoke move through fast, you'll reduce that flavor that really isn't something you really want to feature in your food. Another thing you could do is, if you're not happy with that, is you could actually do some modifications where you drilled some small holes on the side and then added a adjustable vent, like a replacement vent from something like the top of a Weber dome or any other smoker that has a twisting vent where they have multiple holes. Put it in, drill those holes out where you have attached it, and then you can turn that dial to close those holes off. I use a step bit for this. I've only done it one time and it worked out really well. Pre-drill in the middle of each one and then step bit until you get the size that you want. And my last question that I have about this smoker that people frequently want to know is, can you add a PID or make some kind of modifications to this smoker? Well, let's put the PID thing out there real quick. A PID is really only useful in an electric smoker. So unless you're going to add some additional form of electric heat to your propane smoker, which would kind of defeat the purpose, then a PID is not going to be useful for you. You could use a PID with a fan, but again, now you're relying on electricity. And one of the best features of this smoker is because of the propane, it makes it extremely portable. Great for your tailgate parties or your long camping trips. If you're going to take a lot of stuff and go RV camping or something like that, this is a great tool to have with you to get some really good smoked food when you're out on the road. And in combination with your propane grill or even your charcoal grill, it can do wonders for a party. As far as modifications, I did just talk a little bit about adding an air intake vent. That is a possibility, but what I would probably do more than anything else is I would add a slot to add wood chips. Now, it's not absolutely necessary because of the second door, which is really one of my favorite features of this smoker. That second door allows you to open it with releasing a minimal amount of heat and hardly any smoke, because all the smoke is in the upper chamber. But if you added a tube similar to the system that they have on their electric smokers, you could even reuse one of their electric smoker tubes, insert it, drop it, and then leave it in there to close off the hole. That would be an excellent modification that might be something worth doing. Also, you could simply make some metal pipes and add a heat-resistant handle to it, or use pot holders, and that would be really good. Another thing that I think would be a nice modification would be some sort of chimney stack. What I would do is I would just add an air intake system like a floor vent that covered the back of it and screw it to the top, and then a small little stack, and the smoke that comes out the back would automatically funnel directly into it and straight up. And I'm going to see if I can take a picture of my original Masterbuilt 40-inch smoker, and I did something similar to the side of it, so that way I could funnel the smoke up and away and keep it from sticking to the top, because it would come up around the side of the smoker and just kind of go everywhere when it stuck. But smoke, like water, will follow that least path, and once the heat starts rising, it just kind of creates a convection effect, keeps going up. That covered all of my questions about this smoker, and really, this is a really good smoker, and as long as you remember that you need to spend the time to adjust the temperature and stay with it, you will be fine and have good results with this smoker. Now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to check out some of the other videos in my playlist for this smoker and see if this is a good option for you. I think that it is a good option for a portable smoker for anybody at any level of smoking. It also makes a really great holding oven if you have an additional smoker, like say a Weber Smoky Mountain, and you want to hold some cooked food on low temperature, like, you know, transferring some pork butts off of that smoker and putting it in here to hold it temporarily while you wait for the rest of the meal to be done. There's going to be a couple of articles below. One of them will be a review article for this smoker, and there'll be affiliate links. If you use those affiliate links to buy anything from Amazon, I will get compensated. So that won't cost you anything, but it will help support the channel. So thanks for watching and have a great day.